G'day, how you going? Ianapolis here, your acrylic guru, or welcome. Before we get started, I'll just get the size of the canvas on the screen up there, and I'll also get some colours going up the screen that I'm going to use in this video. Now I want to say a big thank you for the reference picture that I'm using in this video today to A. Yelksman. Thank you very much, from a free website, and I'm going to show you the reference picture so you get a gist of what's going on in my mind and what you can turn it into as well. Alright, so let's go. Okay, so there we got a footprint in the wet sand, and I like the fact that it's just made up of lights and darks. I've made a traceable of this footprint, so stick around. The traceable will be in the links in the description below, in the traceable link. Now with the traceable that I made, if you do not have any transfer paper, the most easiest way to transfer this onto your canvas is simply turn it around, hold it up to a window, and grab your pencil and just start scratching in, because the image from behind will show through, being against your window. Scratch through with a heavy pencil, just like that, a graphite lead pencil. And then when you turn it around and we tape it here, later on in the video I'm going to show you just how that transfers onto your canvas. Now I've got some soft bodied acrylic paint. I call it craft paint or student paint, but it's just a soft body. It's a lot softer than what comes out of the tube. And I want to prime the whole canvas in this. And I'm using a canvas cloth, artist quality canvas cloth I've got here. I buy it in a big roll and I cut it off the appropriate sizes that I need for whatever painting I'm going to do. Now this is going on quite thick, so I'm using my putter on a brush to get it all over the canvas. And now I'm just going to stroke it left and right just to get all those brush strokes out of the craft paint there, so to speak, with the tip of this putter on a brush. Now that this is all on there, I want to get all the brown colour. I want it a bit lighter at the top and coming a bit darker at the bottom. So I'm going to use the burnt sienna natural, and to get it a bit darker at the front here, I'm going to add a little bit of red, and I've got white if I want to lighten it up. So I'm going to start with this first, just to paint the whole canvas over that white. So we'll start about here, pushing it into that craft white. It's going to lighten it up. Now what I'm doing, I've got this on a portrait layout, up and upright. I'm getting it all onto my canvas, see, to the edges, pushing it, getting it there, and then come back with the tip of my putter on a brush and stroke it left and right, and it's nice and even. I don't have to go back to that area again once I've finished doing this. I'll pick up some more and simply keep coming down. There we go, there's our kind of sand. I'll get a little bit of this permanent alizarin just to put into there. And a little bit of black, just to darken it up. No, that's too black, see, that's too black. Let's try and fix that up. There we go, I'll come over here with this pile. Get some of that red again in there. And I want this at the very bottom, just from about here up. So I'll start at the bottom, get it on, and come up with it. Get it on, and come up. You could probably use a darker brown, like a burnt umber if you like. I want it about there, darker. And I'll come back to the tip of this brush again to iron out the brush strokes. Okay, that's dry. From where my wave's going to be, which is about up this high, I've just got some burnt umber on a flat brush here. About that height is where the froth's going to be just laying on the sand. The footprint's going to be about here. So I'm just grabbing the burnt umber on a flat brush because I want to get some veins of dark sand. So I want them all on this angle, okay? So what I'm going to do is just pretty much go like this. I'm looking at the reference. The reference picture I will put in the link below with the traceable, so you'll have the traceable and also the reference picture. There's a bit there, I'll just put a bit there, just to tie it all in. But you don't want it looking like a big thick maze of muck. Practice this procedure. Every time I load my brush, see there, it's heavier than there. So you want to try and filter that heaviness so we get everything even. Now what I want to do is grab some of the burnt umber in my brush and then start getting a lighter value of this. And I just want to dust like with this here, getting bits highlighted within there. I'm just scratching it, letting it kiss the surface there. Part of being an artist is making decisions, executing them, and being happy with them. Now I'm grabbing my flat toothbrush and I want to grab some of this burnt umber into my toothbrush, tips only, the tips only, okay? And I'm feeling from here, I want some light and dark of this just splashed within there. Now it's very fine, which is the way I want it. I don't want it too heavy, too big, too much. So can you see how thick I've got them? Practice this procedure on the size you want your flicks to be. I don't want them any bigger than that. I want it, if anything, concentrated down the bottom. And now I want some of the lighter value. I'll just get a bit of water next to that. There we go, some distinct ones over that darkness there. Now what I want to do is create the water and the foam at the top here. So we're just simply going to grab some white, a brush to put the white on, and I want a blurry brush. What I mean by a blurry brush is something you can blur the water back. So I'm going to grab the white, but I want it a little bit, where are we? Where's this colour here? I want it a little bit tainted. Just so it's dirty white, okay? And I can always highlight it with the pure white later. I want to get me wave kind of coming along here, so I'll get some of it on there first. Pull it back with gaps in it. Now grab your blurry brush like I said, leave the bottom hard and blur that. I'm doing a bit at a time because see, if I did too much, because the paint's dry, it's not going to blur properly. So there, and watch what I do here. Put a bit there so I can get rid of those lines, harden them and blur them into the painting there. Now we're just going to work our way along. So this is going to be the foam. Pulling it back into the water half of the painting. Now if my painting wasn't as dry, it'll be working a lot better, but I'm going to get there. Just pulling it back into the water, left and right, from the left and the right, not up and down. Some of them can be little. I've picked up craft white with that burnt sienna natural just to get this wet again because it's too dry. I should have done it when it was wet. You'll see the difference when it's wet. So I've made a mistake. I'm going to fix it up on camera for you. I won't edit it out and make you think I'm a great artist because I'm only as good as I can be. So I'm putting the top half back in here. I'll even go over that bit there that I've done here, just to that white bit. And you'll see how, when we're putting the white on now with the damp paint, how it will sit on there the way it should. So we're picking up the white again, and you'll see the difference now. Watch, I can blend this back into the water half there, and it'll start looking like foam, I hope. pulling it through, pulling it through. I'll grab my other brush now. And look at that, I can pull it through that background paint a lot more with a bit more of a blend in it. We're going to build this white paint up as we go with detail, with more brighter colours. So now that's looking a bit like water. Now I want the foam to start looking the way I was intending it in the beginning, but without realising I dried my canvas too much. See how that's blending better than when it was wet? Dollops and scallops of our foam. That's better, look at that. Just continuing through here. This is damp, so it's before it wouldn't have worked this well being as dry as it was. So I can put more on at a time and scratch it through. I'm using the reference just to get an idea of where bands of white are. Like there's a nice band coming up through here like that, so to speak. It's a bit dry up there, a bit of hurry. So there's our, it looks a bit iffity-affity at the moment, but we're going to start detailing that now. So I want more. Foam up here. I want this to be kind of bubbly and round. So I'm going to grab my flat brush and let it scratch and let it, if anything, sort of get the thickness that I want. I want a nice thicker bit of it here, getting it right there, and we will sit it down appropriately. See, that paint being damp is a lot better. Would have had trouble doing this with it being too dry. Now I'm grabbing that burnt sienna with more white, and this bit here we want, oh, we don't want a lot more whiter than that, sorry. We want it kind of that glary, brighter colour up there. Just so this, instead of it looking flat, it's going to look like it's going that way. So to get rid of that, we'll get this glare pumped in at the top, very top, and then start scrumbling it into this. Oh, wow, look at that. Big accident happened there. A drip of paint fell down right there. I'll have to fix that up. So I'm glaring this. There we go. Just got pure white on the corner of my flat brush, and I'm just kind of coming around, making the bubbly bright areas on here and tapering it back into some of these here. Now I'm grabbing the burnt sienna again after putting those whites on, and I'm kind of, hang on, flatten my brush a bit. Getting some of this throughout the water. There's no darks in it at the moment. You're probably going to be thinking something's wrong with that water. Oh, we need the darks in there. Through. I want to come under here, where I will start from about here. And because we got bubbles in there, we need, hang on, let me get this to about there. We need darker spots within there as well to create the bubble. So I'm going to grab the corner of this brush and just kind of filter up some dots like that underneath that white there, like that, and then grabbing the corner of the brush and simply adding some darker bubbles there. I mean, it's not realism, but it's going to create the illusion of what you're looking for. And over here, we're not finished here yet either, because we've got to have a little bit more darky. So what I'm trying to do now is get it off the brush, let it fade out there. Get rid of that mark. There we go. Now see here how these are there and there's sort of nothing? This is where we've got to marry things up as well with this colour. We're going to grab this. Just lightly on the same angles. There we go. Now I want to continue putting those bubbles in here from the hard line. I'm going to use the same brush and grab some of the burnt umber and mix with this burnt sienna, get a darker value. And now I want to grab that same brush and the very closest to there, I want this dark, very tight there. I don't want it like a line, so I do want it kind of looking the part. So it's just giving nice depth underneath this froth. We'll call it froth all the way along. Just here and there. And you can see how that's made it look a little bit more frothy, foamy, I hope. Okay, I'm just grabbing pure white onto that same brush. I've cleaned her up. And now we want to see here, I want to bring bubbles over that dark, sitting some of that down, just here and there. Foam over there, just with dots. Let's say some of these, like see where I've put here, we can put bits of just gingerly bits of white on top of some of these darker areas here, leaving the darks there. You just keep going backwards and forwards. You will notice as I was going on in this painting, bits were not looking quite right, but once the darks and the lights were put in their right areas, it started bringing it to life. Now I've given it a dry. On the traceable I have this line here. You want that roughly where your froth is. Doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to pick the brightest part of me canvas as well, so I'll have it about there. And we'll get this masked on there in a way so it's not going to fall off. Now I love to use a red pen because a red pen really pushes down. So I'm going to outline all this with my red pen, and putting this on is where you bring the reference picture up on your computer screen, zoom into it, and just with all these lines you've traced onto your canvas, you'll find the areas where you need the darks and the lights. And this footprint is just simply made up with dark and light values of that sand colour. Okay, let's pull this off and just see how good of a transfer we got with that. I can see that, you probably cannot. And one thing I always like to teach people, once you've done a traceable, you can always just go back over it if you feel you just can't see everything, okay? So I've just gone over that with my pencil a bit more just so I can see. For this little mapping in procedure, I'm going to use a small detailed brush. It's a dagger brush. I can get into all the little nooks and crannies with the tip of this. I'm going to grab the darkest colour first, which is the burnt umber, and I'm looking at the reference. Now this is sharp along here, sharp at the top, but the bottom half of this line that I'm putting on, I'm going to wipe the brush, is dragged down. Look at that. You can do that. Take your time, there's no rush to do a painting. Blur them in where you see they are blurred on the reference photo there. It will make sense. It's dark, hard at the top and blurring down the bottom. And once we put in, like I said, our mid-tones and our highlights, it's going to bring the puppy home. Hard at the top. Right around there. And blur it down. Hard at the top. Bits here. What do we got here? Okay, I'm just going to quickly wipe that brush and grab the burnt sienna to get our medium values in there. Looking at the reference, a lot of this is medium value here, creasing over that darker bit there, medium around here, up here. This is going to be highlighted, but there's bits of this colour there, so I'm putting it there now so the highlights will finish it off. Now the light colour I'm going to use is the burnt sienna and our white. Mix that pretty much till it looks like what's in the reference picture. I'm going to look at the reference now, and we've got a nice crisp bright stuff there, nice crisp and bright, coming around a couple of dots. I'm just looking, there's some broken up bits coming here. And by the time you finish adding all this on, it's just going to look sparkly. Little bits tingling in there. Sand getting hit by the light there. not the foot, the toe. Big toe has a lot coming down here. Chisel my brush up so I can get this cut in all the way around to here. I just noticed in the ref there's a couple of little bits knocked out here, so I just put them there, but I've got to sink them down with the darks. Okay. Grab the lighter colour, and if you want, I might put some just floppy bits that I feel, you know, when you walk in the sand and little bits of wet dots of it flick around the place. I'm just accentuating that habit happening here. Okay, it's not the best foot, but there we go. Simply put them on in the light colour, and then simply clean your brush up a bit more. Grab the darker colour. And shadow them down. Pretty much sitting them down. And I feel that's just added a bit more bullshit to your painting, I suppose, wouldn't you say? I'll just sign this and we'll whack a frame on it. Hit the join tab below and become a member of my YouTube channel, support my content. And I want to thank all my patrons who support me every month, much appreciated. People like you help my channel go. Okay, let's put a frame there. There we go, that's not too shabby. We've got a footprint in the wet sand, just making their statement in life. You can do it. Well, I had a lot of fun doing that. I hope you enjoyed the show. Tell your friends if you like what you see, but if you don't, you tell everybody. Also, look at this other video of mine here. Goodbye, good luck, and good on ya.